showing me. Hi everyone, it's Linda here from Benja's Bead House, and today we are continuing my IBW inspired project. So we will get to that in a second, but I also got my IBW bead exchange gift this week, which was really exciting, and it's this really cool Christmas ornament from Kerry in Victoria, who is my bead buddy. So that is now going to be hanging proudly on my desk, which is where it's been all day, and I got it down for the video. So thank you very much, Kerry, for that. I am loving staring at that all day long, and you've inspired me to go find that pattern and give an open weave like that a try, because that's not something I've attempted and I love it. So IBW project. So this is the second part of this little experiment, which I'll pick up again after Seed Bead September and or possibly into the new year. So when I left you guys, I had done about that much of my herringbone rope. I have been working on it during the week, picking it up and down, and as a result, it's not the best rope I've ever made. There are some mistakes in it, which I've realized that beading into the wee hours with going between different projects and things, not the best idea when you're trying to do a rope. But that said, this is an experiment, so I don't mind. And I'm going to give myself some grace because it is an experiment. But I did get about 20-ish centimeters done. You'll see there's some bends and twirls in it, and there is some weird gaps, and that's just all due to some very bad tension and some stitching mistakes, which I found along the way. And I'm going to live with it. So the next part for what I need for this is some wire. I've just picked up my 20 gauge. So I've got silver, and the idea behind that now is that in that center core is we're going to thread in our wire, because as you can see, whilst I can sculpt my herringbone rope into all sorts of curls, it will come straight back out. And that's where you can see my bad stitching. The idea behind the wire is that the wire will actually hold those shapes in place, so that if I want to create this as a plant stem or a stalk and have things coming off it, the wire will actually hold everything in place. Um, I would probably shift to an 18 gauge working with size 8 seed beads. I just didn't have any in my little bag that I could find. Or equally, I could use, if I was going straight up and down and not creating a bend, then I would have used stainless steel. But I'm using the dead soft copper because it's easy to sculpt. You've just got to be careful as you're threading it through that you don't come out of a bead opening, which I've done a couple of times. So that's all threaded through. Sorry, just reaching to get a pair of cutters. So I'm just going to cut. So I've got that now set up, and I've got extra wire coming out the ends. I'm just going to move my wire out of the way. And I'm just going to put a little bend, because it does come straight back out, which is, it's slippery slidey. I'm just putting a little bend in there for now just to stop it. Once I work out what I'm doing with this, then I can finish it off, hence why I've left extra length. But as you can see, it's holding the shape of the curl in the wire at the moment. But as I start to bend, I can add some fun shapes and details into this, which means I can really start to work with the beads to give it that fun element. So you're not having to stitch around a piece of crazy wire or a flat wire and wrap around. You can actually just do your normal rope and then go feed wire through it and create that to actually give you your shape. And the wire is going to hold it. So you can see I can manipulate it within the degrees of however you can manipulate the beads. But you can actually start to manipulate. So I can also do some crossover shapes. Now, all of this, is in theory feasible with the beads, but if you wanted to create that and create it flat, you'd be stitching here, coming back out. It's a lot more work. This is a fun shortcut to all of that without having to do any, picking up some size 15s or doing different beads to create, curvature. This was just all size 8 seed beads, and by dropping that wire in, I can now actually start to sculpt it and create some fun effects. So The idea behind this, as I continue to experiment with it, is to play around with some different flower patterns that I've been accumulating and stitch those on and create this as kind of like a little floral display. The wire would give me an anchor point to then do some join work, or I can simply pick back up off those beads and continue a rope. But this just gives me my nice little foundation to, as my layer of flowers per se. So this is something that is fun. It's challenging me on, how to think about ropes in a very different way. I know with ropes, we've always had there's paracord that people will wrap beads around and stitch through to create decorative ropes that way. With bead crochet, often you'll use and peyote with a twist. You'll often put in I'm going to get this wrong, fish tank piping in there, so that you can create that nice round shape. And we've stitched over leather, we've stitched over many things in the past, but by adding that element of wire, you suddenly get much more of a sculptural option without having to pre-sculpt wire and stitch beads over it, which I have done in the past. But I'm liking this as a way of playing around with how we play with ropes. So this was a herringbone one. I think you could do a very similar effect with chenille, because it's a nice soft malleable rope. So it'll be interesting as I play around with um, ropes doing different things now to, as I get a little test, 20 centimeter bit strip, chuck a bit of wire in, see what it can work, and play up with, like, to see, can it be a sculptural element base as well. But yeah, I think this could add some fun depth to pieces we're working on. So yeah, it's been a fun little experiment, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing and expanding with this kind of idea into the new year. Okay. So that's it for me for this week, because that was part two. It has been a fun week of all sorts of shiny things turning up in these grey drizzly days. I'm going to try and take some shots of all of that tomorrow to share with you as we're slowly processing it onto the sales floor. But yeah, lots of things are back in stock in the shiny space. There is some new stuff which I'm still photographing. So check out those sections of the website to see all of that. And we have some big stock deliveries that have been placed this week that are currently in transit. So for those of you waiting on back orders, you will start to see notifications coming through from me over the next couple of days as I start that fun process. But yeah, lots of fun things landing next week. So be prepared for the new product page and the back in stock page to get all kinds of updates. But that is it for me for this week. I hope you all stay warm and dry, especially on the East Coast with this crazy weather. And for everyone, I hope you all have a fun, creative week, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.